Hello, everybody, and welcome to OpenExO Live. It's so great to be with you here today. So today we have Julia Hitzbleck with us, calling in from Berlin in Germany. And as you can see on the screen right now, we have a great lineup of people all the way in to January next year and beyond. And as usual, before we get going, we asked a few of our community members to share what they thought about Julia. And we're going to go through that right now before we get Julia on screen with us. So we'll start with this from Francesco Derci. And he just said, Julia has a stellar profile, an innovation catalyst. She combines corporate experience with a passion for innovation techniques. She masters the EXO model. Having seen her in action as a coach and working with her as a teammate, I can testify that her dedication and results drive, her attitude is always of great help in a sprint. Next, we have from Michael Frieber. Julia was a driving force to get EXO influenced in entrepreneurial activities implemented at a huge industry giant. You need to be incredibly focused, diplomatic, patient, persistent, motivated, combined with a healthy portion of stubbornness to be successful. And on top of all of that, Julia is a really nice person that is always available and gladly supports and helps initiatives. I am very grateful to know her and to work with her. Next, we have from Kai. He just said, Julia is an absolute asset to have. Her contribution to the projects are always significant and always on point. She always has the right focus, is incredibly sharp, and most importantly, is very pleasant to work with. Members like her enrich the OpenExO community tremendously. Thanks, Julia. Then we have from Mina, who just said, Julia has not only inspired me on my way to embrace a new role within the healthcare market as a healthcare innovation activist, she has inspired a whole movement of a corporate organization. The challenge was not only to roll out a program, the challenge was to realize true cultural change. Julia did that by delivering the instruments, the groundwork, and this she did with an enormous level of professionalism. But the magic of her work was to identify those colleagues who were actual change agents by heart. Empowering these colleagues has been her success factor, as each of them was a multiplier beyond value. So you might want to count the value Julia has brought to the innovation community and would find out it is priceless. Next, we have from Oliver, who said, Julia's background in innovation and strategy is in the life science company is impressive, but even more is her dedication to connect people around innovation in digital health. It seems her toughest personal challenge is when to fully focus on a startup of her own. Thank you, Julia, for your continued engagement around the DACH OpenExO community. And then lastly, we have from Diana, what I really appreciate about Julia is that when working together, I felt she is a trustworthy partner. She masters a wide range of innovation capabilities and tools, and her ability to see things from various perspectives brought value added to our work. She has grit and a doer mindset. I have also appreciated her influential leadership skills and the approach towards empowering and inspiring people in her team. She is a lovely person to be around. And so those were some of the comments from our community members about Julia. So Julia, welcome to OpenExO Live. It's really great to have you. How are you doing today?
Yeah, very well. Thank you very much, Kevin. And I guess I'm still blushing with all the nice comments. So yeah, also very lovely community members. I enjoyed working with all of them. Yeah.
Great. So before we get into the questions today and the conversation we're going to have, I just want to remind everyone who's watching, you can ask questions and make comments wherever you're watching this. So please do that as we have the conversation today. And I do see that there are some comments. We have from Stephen just saying exciting, from Ken just saying great to see you here. So thanks everybody for being here and watching. So Julia, can you give the viewers a bit of a background into how you got involved with the OpenExO community, how you came across the EXO model?
Okay, so I do remember it was the summer of 2017, and I don't know how, but I ran into the EXO Summit London that was held at Ashridge, or at the Hull Business School. Was a one-day conference, and I think I heard about the Exponential Organization book by Salim before, but it was really at this meeting where they walked us through the whole concept and it just clicked. I mean, I felt it was an amazing community right there. And then when I was reflecting, I realized that unintentionally, I was already applying a number of these attributes, but having this in structures, like, oh my God, there is so much more in it. I love it. And then I think a year later or so, OpenExO was founded. And since I got the newsletter, I signed up immediately and I've been involved ever since. So it's a really great journey and really a lot of positive energy that I get out of this community and working with these great people.
That's awesome. So what would you say, Julia, is important components of an exponential mindset?
So I think thinking in terms of abundancy is really something super key. And while we might do this in some extent, we were all somehow trained to rather think in terms of the scarcity business models that are all around us. Of course, we love to have Google and just search and have everything now in terms of technology at our fingertips. But what I see mostly in professional lives is that especially there we do struggle to think in terms of abundancy. So I really think collaboration is so much more important than I need to reinvent the wheel on my own and then control it. And that's, I think, also where like the whole community and talking about it can have a huge impact as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And are there sort of organizations out there and technologies that are really exciting you right now, or that you're using?
So I mean, organizations. There are so many communities around OpenExO. If you subscribe to all the newsletters, you somehow have information overflow already. I do work in the life science industry, so around there's a lot happening, right? From DNA editing and a lot faster sequencing technologies, everything around synthetic biology, everything is getting much faster, cheaper to understand, computational models. I mean, I'm a chemist by training. If I think back what I had to remember and like where the skills were based on like experience and gut feeling how to synthesize this, any computer nowadays is better in synthesis than I am. So sometimes I feel this is frustrating, but that's reality and we would be stupid to fight it, but it's rather thinking ahead and what is the potential that we can leverage and where we can still add value as a human being to really bring it to fruition.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I'm actually was originally a pharmacist, so completely shifted what I'm doing. But you know, in the health space, and you've been in a corporate for a very long time. And one thing that we speak about in terms of running a sprint or looking at being an exponential organization is looking at in the core of the business and innovating there, and then also looking at innovating on the edge. So from your experience of what you've done within a corporate, what do you really see as the way to actually get those entrepreneurs, those people that want to be innovative? How do you connect with them and get them excited about exponential?
Yeah, so I think it's a little bit longer journey. Of course, if you only want to run a handful of ventures, you can probably handpick the people who should be on this just because the usual suspects who have the right mindset and maybe some background in innovation methodology already. But as you probably can all guess, if you only start with a handful of ventures, chances are rather low that all of them will be super successful. So if you want to build a full portfolio, you really need to think in terms of how can I create abundancy, or at least a community where people come up with their skills who you might not have on the radar beforehand, or who actually also realize their potential and are really fast in learning new methodologies. So I do believe you can make core and edge ventures definitely work, but it's important to have the right environment and ecosystem in place. And that, of course, starts with people, but not only on the bottom, so those who are actually working in the ventures, but it's even more important that you have the right leadership support to make it work. Because if you're working on the core, you need support so that people actually do work together and help, even though you might be working on something that is competing with the existing processes in place or technologies or business, maybe even business model, or you want to make it a little bit over. It's even more important if you're at the edge, because then you need the backing that it's okay to do something totally different, right? But you're free to launch the venture afterwards on their own, while if you're in the core, you need to rely on your other colleagues to actually implement the great work afterwards. And I feel if the organization is not ready for this, and if there's not the right leadership, then this is really the biggest challenge the teams are dealing with.
No, absolutely. And so do you have any insights that you could share that, if someone's working in a corporate and they're saying, man, I really wish we could be implementing more of these sort of exponential thinking, that they could, get that through to leadership? Because I agree with you that, if leadership isn't bought in or don't have buy-in, I think it's really tough.
Yeah. So I think you need to find the right channel for every target group. And the larger the organization, the more challenging and complex that actually gets. So while when I was actively working in innovation inside a large corporate, we always made sure that we used with the strengthened network. So it was not just one of us communicating to the organization, but that we actually had these catalyst multipliers there. So people who were our early adopters, who loved it and also got it right away, and then used their own language to share it with their colleagues. Because you also need to keep in mind, if you're in a global organization, people in Germany might not find it so great that we need to speak English all the time. Now, if you go to Brazil, for example, they also don't want to speak English. So it's super important to have this community of believers and doers who then translate this into the different countries in their local language, but then also know, of course, their local stakeholders much better, and then find the right settings, whether this is in a town hall sharing or in one-on-one discussions, or having meetups to share snippets and then have an open discussion, because in the end, it's not just something that you hear once and you're the expert, but that you actually need to digest and then co-create and basically also apply it to your own industry and find use cases to apply the technology on.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You for people hearing some of the exponential attributes and whatnot, as you say, may not sort of jump in all feet first right away. And we often speak about the corporate immune system, where people don't necessarily want to change because innovation is different, and you don't really know what's happening. Do you have any tips around sort of that immune response for people to be able to realize that innovation is in their best interest?
Yeah, I mean, I do have, but I also have experienced the corporate immune system to quite some extent in various roles before. So I think what is important is that you meet people where they are, and that you're not like this super futuristic look. This is how the world looks already today and will be tomorrow, and you will be obsolete because you're not there yet. But I don't know, step by step, you need to trigger interest. You need to start with basic understanding, and also having, I really believe in the power of people. So I might have one view, but if I share this with others, together we can make so much more out of it. And I think this constant discussion and having everybody contribute in terms of personal experience, or I don't know, giving them also a task to think about different applications or read a little bit about it and then share back. That really enriches the discussion, and then it doesn't feel like a huge gap and super tense change journey that you're on, but a more natural learning opportunity. And ideally, it's not just learning content, but also applying it right away.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. And of course, so at the core of an exponential organization is a massive transformative purpose. And we all talk about MTPs. What is your MTP?
So in super short, I would say strengthen health. In the end, I believe it could also be enable humanity to live healthier. Despite all these technologies, and we're just at the beginning now to understand how our microbiome works, and we are super strong and getting even better at analyzing everything, but at the same time, we are putting so much stress on ourselves because we are 24/7 connected, our attention span goes down, there are so many opportunities, we need to filter more, and quite often we either forget to have downtime and disconnect and have also our mind relax, or we are too stressed so that we are not eating right or sleeping right. And in the end, health is really more than just not being sick. And at the same time, our healthcare system today is also just trained to fix if something is super broken. But if we live longer, that doesn't work out business model wise, right? So we need to go back to this abundancy, and by just focusing a little bit more on, okay, what can we actually do in a preventive way to stay healthy and make sure that we know what's good for us, is really what I believe in. And I also like to help people to develop new ventures and actually bringing solutions to the market.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, yesterday I was actually in a taxi here in Jamaica, and on the radio was a doctor speaking about how stroke in Jamaica has really just blown up, and especially among young people, people in their 30s, late 30s, 40s, 50s, because of high stress and people, not really taking care of themselves. And healthcare here is very much sick care as well, just like it is in most of the world. So you have that angle, and then I'm also a believer in longevity. I love the book Lifespan, for example, and thinking about how I can extend my healthy life, and to be able to do so much more in the world. So, are there any exciting innovations that you're looking at around living longer and having healthcare above sick care?
So I do find this whole microbiome topic super interesting because, yes, that's maybe my nerdy side as a scientist to understand this a little bit better. And on the other, it's also something so complex to even imagine and then to analyze. And then this relating also to nutrition and eating the right foods in the right composition and being a bit more aware of not just, oh, I'm hungry, I need to eat something, but what is actually good for me in what situation, I think is super important. But that's really just a super small part of it. I feel there is so much more also around mindfulness that, there's super great apps out there already for quite a number of years. And I'm also happy to see that in the business world, it's now more accepted. Now, 2020 was a very special year, and when also Germany went into like a soft lockdown this spring, we actually had great colleagues who would offer mindfulness sessions before already in the hub that I was running just once a week for a couple of volunteers, and then said, oh my God, why don't we do this every morning? And that again, I couldn't have facilitated it, but I was super grateful to see these people coming forward and saying, hey, I have a skill, people appreciate it, I offer this now. And then suddenly we had so much more people using it, meditating together in the morning for a couple of minutes. If you're not familiar with it, you might feel it's super strange. But if you're in, you realize that you also have a connection and that it's actually good for you overall. So I think there are lots of different angles that you look at. I see that in the whole industry, there's so much happening right now. But it's not necessarily all fitting together, or it's then there are overwhelmingly many solutions to actually work on that that it's even more stressful now, like getting your job right, but then also getting you right. So I think there is, again, need to simplify everything together. But I'm sure that we will get there.
Absolutely. So we had Eric there just commenting that he loves what Viome are doing around microbiome. A question I would use this. Would you use a device perhaps on your toilet that could check your biome every time and update you with an app or something like that? Do you think that's coming along?
I actually worked on a sprint I believe 2 years ago, where we developed a concept for this, and I do have test strips. So it always depends on how nerdy you are. But again, the easier it gets, we move from early adopters to the early majority. And if you think about how many tests you can nowadays buy for things where maybe 10 years ago you still had to go to a doctor and get blood drawn, and nowadays you just go to the pharmacy and immediately get the test results. This is really great. Yeah, Ken is also commenting on that already.
Yeah, absolutely. Ken thinks that maybe we'll have poopables one day. So, I mean, I definitely think that the future of healthcare is around understanding ourselves better. Yeah. We drive a car and we want to know the oil level, this, etc., the temperatures. But for our own human bodies, we often just we have a bit of a pain and we go, oh, I think it'll go away. It's quite crazy. So I mean, Julia, where could people actually get in touch with you? I put up that Ken also just mentioned, looking forward to democratizing healthcare. I know Michael Freebe in the community is very interested into that as well. So where can people get hold of you?
So I guess the easiest way is always LinkedIn, right? I guess we are all on that platform in our own social bubble. But yeah, that's the easiest way to reach out. And as Ken mentioned, I mean, we're working on more initiatives around democratizing healthcare. So there's more to come. We will also start with Berlin EXO next year. So stay tuned. Write down already berlinexo.com. The website should be live more or less now. But then we really kick it off, and with more opportunities, not only for German-speaking colleagues, since we also work with Oliver and other colleagues in the German, Austria, Swiss region, but also, of course, connecting the overall communities. Because we realized in OpenExO and all the other communities around that, there are so many people who really do believe that health is something super important for us all. And yeah, community and crowd, we can all contribute to make it work together.
Absolutely. So Karen on LinkedIn says she will use your product. So at least you got one customer, well, two, me as well. But so as we end off, I mean, I think we could talk about health, and actually it's something I've spoken to some members in the community about, is actually having these sorts of live events, but more in a panel style, and discussing things like the future of health, but maybe we could even go deeper and there could be a complete series around that. But what do you want people, what is the sort of key takeaway that you think people should get from the session?
So I think exponential mindset is really key for continuous growth. And you need to walk the talk. I mean, you need to live it for yourself, starting with you. And then if you really do this, you also realize you are just one out of many. And if you actually manage to tap into the abundance of minds that we have around the world, this is really how to make it work. And I think that's the beauty of it, because I really believe that this diversity of backgrounds and skills, this is really what is driving this positive outcome.
Absolutely. So Julia, great chatting to you today. We'll see you in the OpenExO community and with all the initiatives that are happening. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. Thanks, everyone, for joining live. See you around.
Perfect. So that was Julia from Berlin. Great chatting to her, and be on the lookout for events that are up and coming within the OpenExO community. If your question wasn't answered, we'll get to that in LinkedIn or wherever you asked that question. It's a real pleasure to be with you here today. I'm going to end off today just with a quick video about the Surviving the School Year event we're running next week, Saturday. It's for parents. to come together and to share what you are doing in this time of COVID. And so I hope you enjoy that. We'll see you again next week right here on OpenExO Live.
Hi there, everyone. I'm Lily Safrani. Some of you may know me as Salim Ismail's wife. I'm one of the earliest members of the EXO community. If you're a parent, all of your strategies for parenting this year are out the door. From babysitting to date night, to carpooling, after-school programs, you name it. Our existing structures don't work like they have in the past. On Saturday, November 21st, I'm hosting an EXO World event called Surviving the School Year. It's aimed at parents around the world to help them connect and develop some new strategies to make life run a little bit more smoothly. Tickets are only $7, and we have key partners on board like UNESCO and other major organizations. We would love your support to help us spread the word so that we can reach as many parents as possible with this critical message. Thanks, and see you in the networking room.